This show is brought to you by Nice Mug. Nice Mug is the only mug made entirely out of ice. For more information, go to nicemug.com and enter the coupon code SAUNA for 10% off your entire purchase.
Well, hey everybody, this is Glenn here at Sauna Times, and I'm talking to you here from Minneapolis, Minnesota. It's a late fall day. It's bright, sunny. We've had an incredible stretch of weather here, the fall of the year 2016. Most all the leaves are off the trees, but they didn't go quick. We had this amazing warm season, and we've been easing into fall saunas very softly. Sometimes late fall will hit really hard and fast, the wind blowing out of the northwest and bringing those low, heavy cumulus clouds, and you hear the geese flying overhead, and you go outside and you fire up your sauna stove, and you know it's a change of seasons. You close down your outdoor shower setup if you're in your backyard, or you're closing your cabin down, and those fall saunas have a special feeling, like the return of an old friend. And I want to tell you about this episode of Sauna Talk. We're with Dan Baruch. He's a holistic health professional, and he's a big fan of sauna, and he fits sauna into his wellness treatments with his clients. And he spent most of his life researching and developing methods for health, vitality, and performance. So he's been working with in person-to-person style here for over 10 years. With nutrition, training, body work, and other disciplines. And he began work on a holistic program for absolute beginners and advanced athletics. So his website, I'll put it in the show notes here, is baruchhealth.com. And he has an online education platform there. It's a growing organization, changing the way people think about health. He provides health-based education and nutrition, movement, self-therapy, and meditation. And this program creates a positive total health experience. So he's real eager and inspired to help enable people to practice the most effective and natural ways of achieving greater health, vitality, and performance. Baruch Health thrives on helping people successfully become superior versions of themselves and transforming students into teachers and one day activists. So Dan's available for appointments if you want to check in with him. Like I say, I'll have his contact information in the show notes. He's based here in the Twin Cities, born and raised in Plymouth, Minnesota, a suburb to the west, and continues to reside in the Twin Cities. He and his wife, I think, just closed on a property here, and he sent me a text, and he's all super excited because he wants to build his own authentic backyard sauna. And, of course, I'm going to help him with that, thanks to the Build Your Own Sauna ebook. And it's really rewarding. There's every day when I open my inbox, those are the emails I gravitate toward first and answer first, are people that have purchased the ebook and have a question or two about their sauna build. I love those questions, and I love helping people, and I get super, super rewarded to see. And I encourage people to take a log of their sauna build and take photos along the way. And you'll see that on Sauna Times in the guest post sessions. It's just a very rewarding feeling to know that maybe if I'm in my backyard sauna or my cabin sauna up north, just knowing that there's other folks enjoying an authentic sauna at that maybe same moment, people that I've gotten to know, new friends I've made. It's just been a great joy for me. And so we're going to add Dan to this list as he gets his sauna going. So this is a long podcast, and I hope you enjoy this. We go on and on. And I've been waiting for a guy like Dan to connect with, because there's two studies specifically that you'll hear in this podcast that I reference. And these are studies that have come across into my inbox and my reading. These studies, the first by Dr. Rhonda Patrick, where she she gets heavy, too heavy for me, and I can't follow that kind of stuff. So again, I've been looking for a guy like Dan to help translate, some of her claims and conclusions from the studies that she's done about sauna. So this is a big chunk of this sauna talk where we get into this stuff. We talk about how we can get lost in the information, and this other thing is this escaping velocity. You're going to hear this. We talk about how to escape velocity, and what does it take to break free from routines. I found that really fascinating. We reference Wim Hof, as I'm going to probably end up doing a lot in my future podcasts and writings. If you don't know about Wim Hof, I encourage you to, you could just search on Sauna Times, Wim Hof, and you'll see some of the relevance of his practice as it relates to sauna, and then dive into his practice individually, separate from sauna. But to me, the Wim Hof method and sauna are intertwined. It's just been great for me to engage into that class. Dan is going to talk about controlling your chi, which is exemplified through the Wim Hof method and sauna. I talk about the clean rinse and the full rinse and the cool down session, and then what I find interesting. I got to tell you guys about this one. So my uncle, he's 85 years old. He's my family physician, and it has been my whole life. I love his approach to health, I guess you could say, or the medical industry. And he talks about fitness, and he says, all of this fitness stuff, he says, you should engage in fitness and recreation, for enjoyment, right? Not to tax your body. And Dan talks about this as well. And, these elite athletes, you only have so many maximum moments in your life, and don't tax your body. So that's in here. And it's just not sustainable to go crazy. So my uncle has been a big believer in that, and he's still kicking strong. And we talk about that element of balance and not overexertion. We talk about, so in addition, to Dr. Rhonda Patrick's studies, we talk about the University of Eastern Finland study that came out in early 2015, reducing stress, lower death rates from heart disease and stuff. Very interesting element in there. And then, there's, we talk about sauna talk, of course, and how we need these elements of collaboration and solitary moments. Dan talks about ruminations and how we can process stuff, out of our busy lives in maybe our heads that are got too much going on, and how sauna helps create and foster an environment for rumination. And then we get deep into about the sauna rounds, and this kind of goes on, so as is my rambling right now, so forgive me for that. But I wanted to give you some highlights to this sauna talk, because it's an area that I don't really go in. I mean, I don't really study the health and wellness aspects to sauna. I just enjoy the shit out of it. I think sauna has been great, and I know you listeners agree with me. But this episode is kind of neat because we're going to find out some of the reasons behind why we enjoy it so much, and that's been an area that I wanted to dive into, and we do it here with Dan. So without further ado, please enjoy this episode of Sauna Talk. Hola, is there a Dan?
What's happening?
Hey Dan, Glenn. Nice to see you.
Nice to meet you.
Hold that, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Start talking. Say hello.
Hello, everyone.
And so, Dan, where are you from? Originally.
Grew up in Plymouth.
Did you?
Yeah.
So you're a true Minnesotan?
Yes, sir.
How about that?
Went to Armstrong.
Oh, you did, Armstrong.
Yeah.
Did you skate or do any sports?
I was not much of a hockey guy.
No.
No.
Yeah.
I played soccer.
Did you? Yeah, I played soccer as well. So welcome to Sauna Talk. Yeah, are you ready for a sauna?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I figure what we'll do is we're gonna bring this mic into the hot room,
Okay.
and we'll just like dive right into some chitter chatter.
Okay.
You and I have been back and forth quite a bit, and I'm just really pleased that you're here. I didn't invite anybody else, so the door can, doesn't have to open and close, and we don't have to hear any yahoos chiming in. It'll just be you and me talking, and what I'm real excited about is you have a real approach and interest toward the health and wellness aspect of sauna. Is that right, Dan?
Absolutely. Before we start, I got to give you your gift because you had me to the house.
No, that's
But,
fine.
we'll
No major gifts needed.
It's,
trust me.
It's appropriate.
Okay, you
It's,
hold that.
it's appropriate. I don't
Yeah.
see because then we're gonna find out your thoughts.
Oh, a sauna hat.
What do you think?
A Banya hat. How cool. That is beautiful. I'll have to snap a photo of this. Yeah, so should we wear Banya hats in this sauna session?
That's your call.
Yeah, I say we go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
good. And what I'm going to do is, well, I'll wear this one. I'll wear this one tonight. Yeah. And so do you generally wear Banya hats?
Yes.
Yeah. You like them?
I've gone back and forth for a long time,
Yeah.
and probably like the last 2 years I've been using it.
Right on. Right on.
I
And
seem
what do
to
you like about
I
them?
think I sit longer.
Yeah, that's the general reason I think why why they have them is that it evens the heat out through the body. As we all know, heat rises. So if you're in a hot room, your head is the first thing to get hot, right?
Yeah.
Right there.
Absolutely. So
Yeah, right on.
it's kind of this was a gift.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's gonna have to be like a tradition to
Yeah.
you can only wear a hat if it's been given to you.
Oh, that would be a good one. Yeah, and that's sort of in the spirit of paying it forward and stuff. So I think a lot of Finns that I know before their first sauna round, they'll actually shower or if it's at the cabin or whatever, they'll jump in the lake. So I find it interesting about the Banya hat and stuff is I like to go in the hot room with my hair wet, which I don't necessarily think is a Russian thing. You know where I'm going with that?
Yeah, I can't say it specifically. I would say I typically am in there dry.
Yeah,
That's-
you go in for round one all dry.
Yeah. That's kind of been the way. But I would say I'm clean.
Right.
That's maybe the
Yeah. Well, yeah, right. I don't know the theory on that one. For those listening that may want to chime in on that one, you're going into round one. Do you go in dry or do you go in wet, with a shower or jump in the lake first? So in spirit of that, we're recording here. I see some levels happening. Okay. What I'm going to do is next time you'll hear our voice, we'll be in the hot room. What's your first memory of sauna, Dan?
It's probably a false memory.
Yeah.
So at the Jewish Community Center in St. Louis Park.
Absolutely.
That was the
growing up. Was your dad into it?
Yeah, my father's from Israel. But I don't think I lived in Israel too, and it's not I don't think as culturally as like Russia or somewhere or Finland. Mm-hmm. But that was definitely the first sauna. I'd have to talk to my dad and ask him really how young was I. So
you were so young you probably don't remember.
Probably.
That was your first sauna.
That's probably the truth.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah.
Right on. So then, did your grandfather on your father's side, is he from Minneapolis as well?
No.
Yeah.
My dad is. He was born in Israel, and he came here
cool.
when he was like 26.
That's great.
Yeah.
I have a couple of buddies, and those that listen to Sauna Talk have heard the Jewish Community Center in Minneapolis, St. Louis Park, Minnesota, mention now this is probably the third time. There's a real connection with that sauna and people's connectivity to sauna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a couple people that will listen that have been in that sauna.
Yeah.
That's probably where I did the most experimenting and playing around with different ways.
Right.
It went
Yeah.
extreme, and also there were a core group of guys when I was going, probably in their 70s, Russian guys that they kind of did it their way, so that you just kind of go along with that, and that was a lot of more 10-minute rounds probably, 5 minutes out. Maybe one guy had some fruit or something, and then maybe hop in the steam room even. Yeah. But that was kind of the way that they did it, but then I kind of took it to I'm one of the, in my youth, because I was pretty young when I was doing it and pretty physical. So, I mean, I was in the yoga mat with a hat on, doing craziness, things that I don't recommend.
In the hot room.
Yes,
in the hot room.
Yes. Yeah. So, whatever. But that's where it started probably.
And being a born and bred Minnesotan, has your sauna experience and repertoire expanded beyond well beyond the Jewish Community Center to cabins and other places?
That's you and this was a good first exposure. My dream is to have something like this. This is, you can ask my wife, that's a sauna in the home. It's funny, my parents have a sauna in their home, and it's been it's like sacrilegious or something on this podcast. It's been a storage unit for the 30 years that
listen, don't feel bad. Now here's the thing about Minneapolis, Minnesota is, like, we live right in the city of Minneapolis, and I wouldn't say this is kind of like a Leave It to Beaver neighborhood. Homes are built in the 30s. It's really nice. Sidewalks, kids walk to school, that kind of thing. But you don't have to go too far, and I'm only talking about 4 blocks north of us, to be in a very opulent neighborhood, a very old money Minneapolis neighborhood. Homes, late 1800s, most all of them have saunas in the basement. They were built that way. It was maybe it was a Scandinavian thing. I don't know. But where I'm going with this, Dan, is I would venture a guess that if you took 100 homes in Minneapolis that have saunas inside of them, 80 probably have boxes stored on the sauna benches. So don't feel bad.
Yeah, no, I believe it. It's you build your house, it looks like a good idea, and then life happens, and which is the whole purpose of the sauna, is to break the rhythm of life. But that's just funny. But
it is. It's ironic. So that's the story of your parents' sauna. It's a storage room, right?
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's about this size. It has an electric stove. It'd be great. Maybe when we build my own, maybe I'll have to harvest their stove.
There you go. So what interests you most is a sauna within your house, or a sauna like this in the backyard? Is there one or the other that you've been dreaming about more than another?
I would say for a home, it would probably be in the home. And then more of a, and it's not so much, I want a business, but I want to open a health center. That's definitely. And the sauna it just has to be there. And like I've been using saunas since a young age. I mean, since I was 18, I can remember consistently being in the sauna sometimes every day of the week. And that hasn't stopped for I'm 30 now. Like, I mean, that's just been the way I've been living.
Right on. So you've been sauning your whole life for 30 years. In the last couple of weeks, where have you taken sauna?
In the corporate Lifetime type deal.
Right on. And how is that sauna for you? Lifetime, what neighborhood?
Plymouth.
How is that sauna?
That one specifically is, I've been in every Lifetime probably. It's like I can describe each sauna. Right on. Honestly. The Plymouth one is a long corridor style with the aquarium style front where everyone gets to look at you. And there's probably 3 ovens in a space that's, 20, 30 times the size of this. It's just not... It doesn't make sense. It can get going, it's the typical put water on the rocks, you're in trouble, the whole way.
Yeah, they got the signage up there warding you off any kind of lolu or steam from sauna, from the rocks. So, but do people do it anyway, and do you put...
Yeah, you have to do it. It's sometimes I'll bring eucalyptus in and that type of stuff. Yes. There's nothing wrong with it. It's, from my perspective, either you have a sauna in your home, or your only option is to go to a health club, a gym, a corporate wellness, sales, marketing driven situation where there's children and there's the rest of the money making scheme, versus just have a for adults health center. I saw the post you did in Chicago. Super cool. I was reading that. So there's that's the whole, in Israel they have that spa type thing. For me, I do a lot of physical stuff. I'm training. I'm doing therapy with people. So I, want to tag on a nice, cool, the way I'm doing that stuff with.
Tell listeners, Dan, about your day job. What do you do, and what got you interested in it?
Since right now we have our own office in Wayzata. I do like physical therapy, massage therapy.
And what is your job title?
I have too many. Honestly, manual therapy. So I would call myself a manual therapist because all of the different modalities that fit inside of that, they're forms of manual therapy. So, and I'm kind of anti-titles because if I tell you I'm a therapist, but I've been playing the guitar since I was 16, and I'm also a front-end web developer, well, now we can't talk about those things.
So you don't like labels.
I hate them because
So what makes you money? What makes you money?
Yes,
is this facility?
Yes.
And this facility is located
in Wayzata,
and
Carlson Parkway.
And are there other folks in this?
Just you. Just myself and one partner.
Right on.
Who's in his 50s, and he's a big proponent of sauna as well. We each have our own kind of way we do things, but we're buddies. We look at life the same way, so it works out really well that way.
That's great. So is he a partner in your business?
Yeah, we just kind of share space, and we're very friendly. We're friends. We'll be friends forever. If one of us found a new place bigger, we'd be there right alongside doing business together.
So maybe I could ask a question if you were to describe, the services that you've provided for the last, say, 5 clients that were in your office. Maybe share with the listeners what services you provide.
Yeah, it's I've worked with a lot of things. Okay, the last 5 ones. It's basically you're either on a table, like what would look like a chiropractic table, doing hands-on therapy. And then if you're not doing that, I have basically a program that's been an accumulation of all my life doing this, which I'm teaching people. And then that program lives on a website that was launched this year, the Baruch Health website. And that's probably becoming the most comprehensive from I'm injured, and what do I do next after my 12 weeks of physical therapy, all the way to a double weight, like back squat or a headstand or like very advanced training. But I just kind of, through my own personal, I guess, journey, if you want to call it, I've kind of realized everyone's unique, and I want to put health as the one thing that people would anchor towards versus the performance or even vitality, all these things, because it's kind of.
So these last five folks, they've been on the table.
Absolutely.
You've been working them.
Yep.
With your hands.
Yep.
Okay, and then what is there another, tell us about the full spectrum. I mean, are you prescribing, diet, supplements, nutritional stuff, or is it more of the physical body treatment?
The whole thing.
Very holistic.
Absolutely. Yeah. Nutrition is probably where I've gone furthest with science, which is kind of in our email correspondings leading up to this, why science can be toxic, information can be toxic, and we can start talking about how the lining in your stomach, that's called your epithelial lining, how certain things you eat can stimulate all these things, right? It can get really, 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 it gets too much. So and now I'm at a point, maybe it's my age, maybe I've gone that far for probably like good 5-6 years. Like I went to the U of M, I studied nutrition there, I studied exercise, I studied anatomy. But you get specialized information, basically. And that's just not the way it works. You have to have this questionnaire that has 200 questions, and someone can look at it and go, well, these are the 5 kind of key things I look at and say, hey, maybe you're swollen and you don't drink enough fluids. Maybe going to the sauna once a week would do you some good. Right. Or I'm achy and I've tried all these things, and maybe going to the sauna once a week would do you some good. And I say that, there was a friend, I don't want to say her name, but she was there last week. She had about 2 months of a break, and she came back stiff. She came back a little swollen. She retains water. A lot of people naturally retain water. Go sit in the sauna, see what happens. And she used to do it, and she felt amazing when she did it. And just, in like 2 sessions.
So I have to interject with you, and I appreciate what you're saying from a holistic treatment perspective. So, my wife, she's battled migraines for 15 years, and she's been around the horn to all the different specialists and stuff. And it's funny, she told me just the other day, she's like, how come what's wrong with me is what the person I go and see treats? You go and see a naturopath. Well, it's whatever that is. You go and see a chiropractor. Oh, your muscles are all fucked up. You go and see a neurologist. Oh, you need this drug. In a way, it's a shame about the specialized medicine or specialized treatment environment we live today. Is you go around the horn. and you get treated individually and specifically based on the specialty of who you're going to see, right?
Yep.
Right on.
That's having just met so many people. I mean, if neuropathy, you name a symptom, I've probably talked or had my hands on somebody with that. And a lot of times they're just getting that information, like you're saying, like, we need specialists. Like if you have back pain and you're the first choice shouldn't be a drug. And maybe a chiropractor is the absolute most expert person to deal with that. But then unfortunately, a lot of these offices, they're businesses.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's hard
and they want you coming in twice a week for 6 weeks, because that's how long it takes to cure that, right?
Yeah. So it's what I guess my personal mission, because I'm somebody who I want to go behind the curtain and I want to see how things work. I want to understand mechanisms. I want to empower. I want to give you that information, because just because you achieve a goal, or people do these bodybuilding shows and they get to 5% body fat, and then what? Life isn't just a static thing. It's dynamic. You have to maintain what you're achieving. It's not this, I'll get to that bridge and cross it when I get there. It's a bad plan to begin with in my mind. Like, it's, what are we looking for long term? What do you comprehend? And then how can I transfer this information that's not my information? It's been there. The sauna's been there for how many, it's nothing new under the sun kind of way. It's who's got a way to just make it so you comprehend it. Yeah. And then you go through this list and you start seeing, maybe my migraine has something to do with my upper back muscles. Well, why do I have upper back tension? Well, maybe there's 3 exercises that could help that. Okay, I'm doing those exercises. It's not working. I've been to chiropractors. My joints are in alignment, or they slip a certain way, but, I've felt what the relief can be, and I see, okay, that's not it. And then maybe it comes down to it's, something from your nutrition, and maybe that's having a response in your body. And then maybe it ends up being you have something neurological, and no one's going to be able to help you, or there's something that's waiting to be discovered. And it takes that process, and you don't.
So you love the process of discovery, don't you?
Yeah, that's since I was probably like since 17, 18. I've worked in a gym. I've been interested in the body. I've been reading, and as the internet's evolved and the level of information that's out there gets a little bit higher. I'm someone who I don't want to name drop and be like, oh yeah, I know that guy and I know that guy, and I'm not really interested in being that guy, even though it ends up being that you have to be that guy to get the information out there. But I just want to understand how it works. Yeah. And then eventually you start understanding a lot, and then you talk to people and they'll be like, I didn't know that, and I didn't know that, and I didn't know that. I'm like,
so you're a sponge of information, and there's a lot of it out there, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a great springboard. And one of the reasons why I'm glad Dan is with us today is I'm going to be candid. We're going to dive right into this Dr. Rhonda Patrick study. And I wrote down a couple of notes. And I've been waiting for a guy like Dan, because I've looked at her shit like 2-3 times. Okay. And I get super confused fast. Yeah. But here's what I know. Okay. I've been taking sauna 3 times a week for 30 years. And I love it. And the first sauna I took, it was in the real authentic sauna. The first one I took was in the Baltic on an island in midsummer, in June. And we got flounder and perch from nets in the sea. And there was, and it was this beautiful little bay. It was a wood-fired sauna, and we fired that sauna up, and we cleaned the fish, boiled some potatoes. We had a couple of beers between sauna rounds, a couple shots of vodka after. You get the vibe. And the first time I sat on that bench, I said, there is something here in this, call it therapy, See, I was doing construction, and I was on a scaffolding all day long, and it was a rainy, cold summer, and, that my limbs were cold, and I was kind of clammy and what have you, and my muscles were sore as hell. And the minute I sat on that bench, I said, this is a great thing. And it stuck with me for 30 years. So the fact that there is a lot of research being done about authentic sauna and the experience is wonderful. But I'm not I don't need to be the weatherman to know the way the wind blows in the sauna for me. And I'm really gratified that there are younger people that are studying this thing from a very clinical side. And these studies are producing some great results. But I can't make heads or tails of what the hell they're talking about. Yeah. So you've read some of this stuff? You know what
Yeah.
we're talking about?
Yes, and I'm there's you can't say anything bad about anybody, and nothing hurt in specific either.
Oh, she seems like a great person. Don't
She's
get me wrong.
committed, and there's so like the way I look at it is this, like, because of the years that I put into nutrition studying, you need scientists, and I could sit here and list out guys that are not 30 years old, guys that are 65 years old that have spent their life as scientists doing research, but the situation there is, like, you take a clinical study, the gold standard, trial, controlled, that's not how it ends up being in the real world. So back to the mechanisms, like, we're in the sauna, there's heat, we're sweating, that has an effect. Our heart rate goes up, that has an effect. And there's an after effect of it. But kind of I take a step back and look at how does the sauna used as a tool to manipulate your body. I kind of came up with a fancy term, which, I mean, it's not fancy at all, but hormonal rhythm. And that's what it comes down to. And the sauna has a play in that. So there's stress hormones like cortisol. There's hormones that deal with growth like insulin. There's another hormone called leptin, which deals with like fats and signaling your brain to release ghrelin, which deals with hunger. And testosterone, all these other things. And she references, I know, like growth hormone factor and a bunch of things that, we can talk about, but and we should. But is there a benefit to overloading somebody with, if you sit here, your stroke volume is going to go up, but you're talking to somebody who works at a desk job, who does not do any aerobic exercise, and they're not a star triathlete who is concerned with stroke volume and their resting heart rate and their anaerobic threshold and their VO2 max and understanding what those numbers mean and how it applies to the bike when they're in a headwind that they've got to get up. I mean, we can go. I've done triathlon, I've done marathon, I've done it all. And I don't see sauna as a performance enhancing, and I kind of get the vibe from that.
Right. That's part of it. I
think that's a little BS.
Okay.
I'm gonna sit in the sauna
like a tail wagging a dog here.
I really think so. And there's others, like, outside of that. There's a study that they released in a strength and conditioning journal.
Yes.
And they said that if you're gonna do a bench press, we all know what a bench press is. You lay on a bench, you get a bar, you press it from your chest to lock it back out. They say that you'll get stronger if you do a bench press on one of those balls that are blown up with air. Because somebody's interested in putting out a study.
Yes, right.
And you're telling me that a 600-pound bench press done on a bench is going to cause me to, and then you're going to get stronger with a blow-up ball laying on my back doing dumbbell presses. It's just not. Sometimes I'm not saying that it's not even remotely close to what's going on there, but it's this idea of trying to discover more. And what happened today in the modern age, where a 15-year-old kid can go on the internet and type in sauna, and because these guys are doing a good job with internet marketing, and
Google search.
We can talk about that because I build websites for people like that. And then what happens is you get people thinking that if my growth hormone is going to go up if I go on a sauna, and I'm looking at it for performance, and now maybe you got a guy sitting in the sauna for 60 minutes when he doesn't know the technique of a push-up.
Yeah, man.
And it's like,
I get it.
We get lost in the information.
So let me read these 4 points, and you can pull them apart, pull them together, expand on them. And I love that we're talking about this. And I have to be candid with you, though, Dan. This is not my forte. When it comes to sauna talk, I am so gratified that you're here and we are talking about it, but I can get lost pretty quick. So these are the notes I wrote from her article, Dr. Rhonda Patrick. Are saunas the next big performance-enhancing drug? Ooh, that sounds like a Google search optimized
Clickbait.
title, huh?
Clickbait.
Well, it's unfortunate. We're not going to throw that under the bus.
She's great, and she's intelligent, and she's a researcher.
Right on.
I'm saying that researchers are good for researcher.
Yes.
Good, like, type thinking.
Yes.
And then there's practical application.
Right on. Okay, so I'm on your page. So what, in summary form, she's saying that saunas, by increasing your core temperature for short periods, as done by using a sauna, may offer dramatic improvements to your athletic performance. So you touched on that, and that's one of the areas that her research is, supporting. The second is the concept called hypothermic conditioning. May have multiple positive effects on your body, from increased endurance to the release of human growth hormone, HGH, and the growth of new brain cells. Number 3, your body, and interrupt me on any of these, but there's 2, and we'll come back to either of them if you want. Number 3, as your body is subjected to reasonable amounts of heat stress, it gradually becomes acclimated to the heat, prompting a number of beneficial changes to occur in your body. Pretty broad, but I see where she's going with that.
Yeah.
And we can come back to that. Then I had to write this one because she's making a plug for infrared saunas. And any listener to Sauna Talk and a reader of my blog, Sauna Times, knows which way I think. Yeah. Okay. So infrared saunas can significantly expedite the detoxification process as they heat your tissues several inches deep. I think after 1 minute, when the bell rings, do you turn over in an infrared? I don't know when the bell goes. No, sorry. Anyway, so it's several inches deep, which can enhance your natural metabolic processes. So that's her. That's Dr. Anna Patrick. Those are the 4 areas, and then there's just a few bullet points on that. Increasing endurance, increasing insulin production, prevent protein degradation, massive release of growth hormone, something about insulin, which I couldn't follow. You referenced it, Dan. Elevating HSP levels, something that's good for helping us heal bruises. Heat exposure in a dry sauna has been demonstrated to cause a potent increase in beta endorphin levels, even more than exercise alone. That's what I got written down, and you can talk to any of those points, Dan, that's got you going.
The simple, and I really don't want this to come across like drama, like us versus anyone. That's not what it is.
No, good point.
So
good quality.
Beyond that, to get back to what's going on, there's a million things that are good for us. There are many different stressors that can have these same types of responses that were just listed. Things like doing some push-ups, fasting. There's different ways, and what it boils down to, there's a term, it's called hormesis, and it's like a password I've used on some private stuff on my website for people to get access to. But that's kind of what it boils down to. There's how much of an acute, a small dose of stress, kind of like a flu shot, where your body sees it as a negative stressor. It's causing stress, but your body's able to respond because of the stress. Right on. That's the same thing as weightlifting. You take something and it's heavy, and you overload what you can currently do, and then you spend some time recovering because there's a stress there. Your body gets broken down. You start to heal. You come back. Your muscle fibers are a little thicker. Right on. We can get deeper with that, but then you have a response. So life is all about creating stress. It's if you don't use it, you lose it. It's that simple. If you sit in a chair for 12 hours a day and never bend your knee past 90 degrees, pretty soon it gets really hard. The joints just stop thinking they need to bend that way. Yeah. So if we want to keep it to the sauna, it kind of goes back to who you are. If you're somebody who's not in great shape, let's say you're 40% body fat, let's say you're 5'8", you're a guy, you weigh 240 pounds or 50, you're overweight, you're out of shape, you can't walk down the block. Is that bullet point list going to do anything for you? Probably not, because you're not sensitive enough to it. So this level of sensitivity to what you're doing, that's what it's about. So if you're somebody who is doing the sauna a lot, you're sensitive to it. You know the difference of being 3 weeks without being in the sauna and not. You have sensitivity to it. But then we have to ask, what's too much?
Okay.
So being in the sauna in the morning for 2.5 hours, 5 days a week, that might have a negative response on your workday. And I've done that before.
Too much sauna. Too
much sauna can have a negative response. Too long, too frequently, in the wrong situation. You're sick, you've been drinking, and you're already dehydrated.
Yeah, talking about, sorry to interrupt you, Dan, but Sauna Times, search engine optimization and all that. Guess what the number one, I was just looking at this, and I don't study this stuff too much, but guess what the number one search references to get to saunatimes.com? Any clue? Do you want to throw a guess?
Maybe sauna weight loss?
Pretty close. I think that's number 3 or 4. Do you want to take another one?
You go ahead. Sauna and drinking. Okay, detoxifying drinking. Go ahead.
Hangover. Yeah, you're
Okay,
right. You're dancing
hangover.
right close to it.
Yeah.
Can sauna cure a hangover?
Really?
Yeah, so there you go. So, people are reaching for quick solutions here, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's good. The work that she's done is good because she's gone and put out something that is a reference point.
Yeah.
It's the same thing in the paleo community.
Yeah.
It's the same thing in like natural movement. And it goes on and on and on. It's the same thing for web search. It's the same in every domain of information. There's going to be somebody that steps up and says, I want to be famous, or I want to do the work, or I want to be the one that gets referenced. And it's good, and it starts conversation.
So have you ever used sauna to cure a hangover?
I have, maybe, yes. I definitely have. I'm not much of a drinker, but it has happened.
Well, I would say it's happened for me too.
Yep.
I would say this. Okay, so whether you have a hangover or a cold or a muscle, twist or whatever, the neat thing about sauna, unequivocally, is that it moves it along. It doesn't cure it.
Yeah.
It just moves it along.
Yeah.
I think what it's doing is getting your body going, right?
Yep. It's there's a technical term in with spaceships. It's called escape velocity.
Ooh, I like that one.
So have you heard it?
No, but keep going.
So a spaceship is got to fight the force of gravity. So you got the payload, and the payload has to be X the size to break free of the Earth's gravity. So the escape velocity is that amount of inertia or quantum, I think they call it, to actually break free from Earth's gravity to now be floating in space.
Okay.
So that's a way of we're trying to create energy with what we do. Yeah. And if you want to get Eastern philosophy and start talking about the meridians and all that stuff, I study that. I know it. I do it with people, the acupressure, things like that. And that's where the chi comes in and this energy. I'm not necessarily talking about it like that. There's metabolism.
Okay.
And the harder you work, the higher your metabolism should go. And if you have thyroid issues, your metabolism might naturally be lower. Or if there's many factors that you can influence your metabolism. So the sauna is one, like when you're saying it speeds up your system, it's a stress. It's a fluid-based type of stress. We're going to sweat out fluids. And there's water-soluble things. There's things that will flush out of our system faster and kind of speed that process.
And what do you call that again with the spaceship?
Oh, escape velocity.
Escape velocity.
Yeah, that's definitely... But, it sticks in my head because it's cool. It's like, what does it take to just break free of it's called recidivism. You have this cycle of going to bed too late, waking up too early.
Yes.
And the sauna is probably, from what I've been in the float tank, the sensory deprivation chambers. I've done, I've had people work on me. I've tried things. I do meditation. I've done breathing things.
Right.
All of these things are good. But when you get kicked in the ass by some heat, and you can be in this box, and you can exclude anything outside, it breaks the rhythm, and it physically breaks you. You have to fight against it. And it's easy for somebody to do this, and they can work up their tolerance. You're not going to run a marathon day one of running, but it's a lot easier to come sit down somewhere and breathe.
Yeah, I
versus,
like that.
I'm going to teach you how to do a 35-minute headstand, which I've done.
Yeah.
That's a 3-year process to just be stupid and do something so stupid.
Well, we all need some escape velocity, and I wish Wim Hof was sitting here because I think he would draw a similar parallel to cold therapy.
Yep.
This cold thing, where you're shocking your system, and you have to be careful with this. I mean, you can't just dive right into this and say I want to do this. I mean, you have to know your body and know your regulatory system and be super conscious of yourself, right?
Yeah. See, the thing about me, I spend 1 to, I don't know, sometimes 6 hours on the internet reading everything, including the person we referenced, including Wim Hof, and everybody's cool and everyone's got a thing, and his information is excellent. But
I think he'd like escape velocity.
Oh, he is one of the many men that are awesome, and they're on the level of they've committed to something for their life, and they have a work, and they're interested in their reputation, and then look what he does. The guy goes up Mount Everest and sits in ice longer than anybody. He's And that's, if he wants to say it's through his breathing technique.
Yes.
And it does have an effect, and I have done it, but I did it differently. I got YouTube videos that were similar. It goes back to this idea of controlling your chi, which...
Controlling the chi, right on. And could it be also brought into the mix that athletes whether you're mountain biking or going for a run and all that. Yeah, I mean, is there some escape velocity happening with exercise?
I think from exercise perspective, we're talking about recovery. And when it comes to recovery, sauna can help, I think, most. Well, and also there's the wellness aspect to it. People with arthritis, I work on a lot of people with arthritis, and sauna has a huge benefit for that. But from a performance perspective, the sauna is not going to do anything compared to just going out and doing whatever it is your sport is. If you're a CrossFitter and you have to do, clean and jerks for sets of 30, which shouldn't be done, and you have to do it with 350 pounds, no sauna time is going to make you be able to lift steel off the ground. It's just,
okay.
But it might give you, it's like Michael Phelps with the suction cup thing.
Yeah, right on.
It's not the reason he won, and maybe he got like 0.01% of something that did something physically to help him recover. But it's not... So it's from a performance. I think the performance aspect is becoming better at sitting in the sauna. It's that's as simple as that. There's a reason that I can sit and you can sit this long. It's because we've built a tolerance to it. That's why there's sauna games, and that's what it's about.
And that's why there's banya hats.
And that's why there's banya hats. And and then the second you move to a competitive realm, it's where you're willing to risk injury and all of these things, and that's something I steer people completely away from, because I don't think it's the way to go.
No. Hey, the Chicago Sweat Lodge. It's cool you read that article, and I'll be launching Bill Trotter. He's the general manager of Chicago Sweat Lodge, and what a cool thing. You want a shot of water? Here, grab this. No, and then you stay with mine, and then we'll, when we're done with the round, we'll go after your water. But the thing is at Chicago Sweat Lodge, there is a demographic there. There are these Mexican boxers that initially got introduced to Chicago Sweat Lodge because of their, that crazy deal where they have to make weight. So
Can I interject quickly?
Yeah, shoot.
Okay, so everything in that article, everything performance in the world of performance, it matters. When you're Lance Armstrong, 0.1% matters. Like that's what it's about. When you have a Ferrari, you don't drive around at 300, 3,000 RPMs. You have to max it out to know if it matters. So is the sauna a part of a regimen that can improve like your performance? Absolutely, for the reasons listed above. But it's not. Most people aren't at that level.
No question. But the boxers are at the level of making weight,
yeah.
So they get the idea of water weight and losing that water weight when they weigh in. But the cool thing about it is these Mexican boxers started, showing up the night before the weigh-in or the morning of or who knows what. But it's so neat to see them coming back and back and back because it's not about making weight anymore. Yeah. They've gotten into the process. Yeah, you want a cold shower?
Let's do it. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, you want me to go first? No, that's all good. I'll go first, unless you want to go. And you know how to turn it on? Okay. Yeah. All right, here, set this outside.
Glenn's got the best sauna in Minnesota.
It was such a treat, and the kids were super young and stuff. And it'll be like, I'd borrow some time, and I'd be like, Julia, I'm gonna go out in sauna, and then I have a couple buddies over, have a beer or two, whatever, and I'm thinking, this is such a hack, right on my own property. I can escape, have a couple of beers with some buddies, have a great sauna. And, she's inside dealing with the kids, But anyway, the point is I developed this thing where you treat every sauna round like it's your last. So, because I never know, like, if a kid was going to come out and needed something or, Julia say, you got to change a diaper, whatever. So I always do, like, the full clean rinse. And I think that's a holdover from when our kids were very, very young. And especially up at the cabin where you just never know. Like, and now later in life, the kids are older and stuff, she maybe come down and, if we're at the cabin, she'll be like, hey, it's already 6:30. We're supposed to be at the Birmingham's by now, and I'm like, shit, I'm only in round 2. Yeah. But anyway, if I have a clean rinse, then I'm always ready to go. Yep. Yeah. But that's just me.
That's practical. No, it makes sense.
Yeah.
It's the one thing is when you're trying to talk PhD science and your brain's getting attacked by heat.
Yeah, that was a challenge.
That's fun.
You know,
That's all good.
That reminds me, I saw Wilco up in Duluth, and they were playing Impossible Germany, one of my favorite tunes by that band and in general. And it was a Duluth night. I think it was. Doesn't matter what month it was, I don't know, because it can go crazy up there at any time. But the wind was coming in off the lake, and it was blowing cold, and it was mist, heavy mist. And and Jeff Tweedy said, after playing the song, he says this is like Navy SEALs. He says, yeah, you can play that solo, but can you play that solo in the wind and the mist and the rain, right? So it's like can you talk all this shit in the 170 degrees, but I'll throw water on the rocks. Yep. Yeah. So we hash out her, right? Is there anything more you want to say? Because I want to talk about one more.
Directly on her. I don't.
That whole deal. I've been wanting to talk about her study with somebody, and so you came into my life. Yeah. So that's why I wanted to drill into that, and I think you handled it like impeccably well. You made me feel really good about it. Is there anything else you want to say, or should I go to the next thing?
We can go to the next thing. That's what I seem to do for people when I meet them. Is they come to me with major complexity, like something crazy, and usually people leave and go, "Oh, I feel much calmer about this situation." Yeah. I will never stop studying and researching and learning, and we could spend a few hours, and I can pull up my computer and we could check out let's go to my history and go the last 10 years and see where I've been and this kind of thing, but. So I come to these points not just as I don't like this person or that person, or I don't like this philosophy, I don't like vegetarians, or I at this moment in my life making my opinions based on what I understand, and I know that I happen to have a very big picture of how things work from a political, economical, actual, practical, health, science, spiritual, all of these things. I try to put it there, but then, what the hell are you going to wake up tomorrow and do first thing in the morning? And how is that helping your process? So 3 months from now, I always say progress is change. So how is that going to create change that you're trying to create? And sometimes you're an elite athlete, and these scientific things matter, and the majority of people aren't elite athletes. And I would actually pressure people, because that's what's terrible about the fitness industry, is that being an elite athlete is not a good thing. It's you only have so many maximal go crazy things in moments in your life. Like, why every day take on and abuse your body instead of do things that actually encourage your body? Don't be a weakling if you're a dude and you can't pick up 200, 300, 400 pounds off the floor like a deadlift, let's say. Let's get there, but we don't need to get there tomorrow, and it's not sustainable to go crazy, and that's kind of that's the philosophy. So when you get into these, should I intermittent fast for 6 hours or 8 hours? Should I take in this many calories or that many calories? Well, maybe it matters for you, but if there's a good chance that you haven't gone through these few steps before that, and those steps are on my website, but they're there. We could, it's like if you're not drinking some water, if when you pee your pee isn't clear. Well, let's deal with that before we start talking about what electrolytes to put in your fluids. There's an order of operation. Yeah. That's kind of.
I like it. I like that. So yeah, I would think maybe in your day to day, one of the challenges is to not talk too much. Not reveal too much, because you got such a full rainbow of knowledge, and it's easy to start yapping on about what you know when really the mission is to help people, right Dan?
That's probably just being a little, not necessarily older, because I know I work with people that are all the way up to 89. So I've met people that are not only there's the know-it-all, but then there's also the talk too much, and I'm probably guilty of talking too much, and I learned this new study, and let me tell you how it works, and hey, you're wrong because you're doing this. But that doesn't allow me to meet you where you're at and try to get you to see it the way I see it. So there's no point for me to sit here and rattle off, did you know that I did blah 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 blah, or I worked with da 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 da, or I know da 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 da. No, it's like what's coming, and I should shut up and listen. And if you listen, then usually you can hopefully be aware enough to have the right thing and recall that information and help somebody, because that's we all should just be in a constant, you help me, I help you.
Yeah, and you learn and you help. Yeah, very good. So talking about studies, the other study that I wanted to chat with you on is I'm telling you, like I think it was about early in 2015. Everybody was reporting and re-reporting on this study that was released from the University of Eastern Finland. And I was getting emails like left and right and, links to BBC, New York Times. The whole blogosphere was lit up on this thing. And what this study from the University of Eastern Finland reported on is they tracked 2,300 middle-aged men for an average of 20 years. And what they came up with is that frequent visits to sauna result in lower death rates from cardiovascular disease and stroke. So it was really interesting to see, and I see you shaking your head. I remember, and I was so intrigued about how that story got clickbaited and re-headlined, and somebody started writing, saunas make you live longer, and then everybody started rewriting that, hashing that as the headline of the story, which is just a wonderful example of McDonald'sizing a study results. Saunas make you live longer. So anyway, I think you're familiar with this study, and the researchers were quick to state that because of the unique properties of Finnish saunas, their results are not applicable to steam baths or hot tubs. So a Finlander said that, which I thought was just tremendous. He's like, we're not talking steam baths, we're not talking hot tubs, man. This is sauna, And then the last thing I'll say is that the researchers also emphasize that the very nature of the Finnish sauna is designed to reduce stress. So I thought that was interesting too. So you see where I'm going with that?
Kind of.
Yeah. Okay. So they're saying that saunas result in lower death rates from cardiovascular disease and stroke, but it's not maybe linearly connected physically. It could be that people that sauna, they know how to chill out.
Yes. Let's take it like the most practical, simple.
Yeah.
There's a sauna, and it's not in your backyard. So you probably need some time to get there, and you probably need some time to get home, and you probably didn't have a huge meal right before you went in to do it, and you're probably going to go to bed at a reasonable time because you got to, it's just...
You're tired and you want to sleep.
Exactly.
Well.
So, I mean, it's just that alone means that you're taking time away from your day to do something for yourself that has to be stress relieving, and it just that alone would make somebody live longer or make better decisions later on. I mean, and we do that with every single thing.
That's really good. So that's what I wanted to touch on, are those two things with you as a guy that's very well read and is supercharged on health and wellness from a holistic perspective. And what's really neat is that, sauna is a tool in your toolbox.
Yeah. Like on my website, the Baruch Health website, there's like self-therapy protocols. What can you
spell your website name?
It's just my BaruchEalth.com. Just one word. But
and I'll put a link in the show notes.
Cool. It's and there's the idea of contrast therapy. It's on there, and just it should be a hot and cold, and there's times for both that you could, if you walk down the street and you smack your knee against something and it swells up, that's a good time for ice. Yeah. If you waited 3 days and now you think you're going to ice, or somebody's telling you to ice every single night, it's probably not doing you much good. Yeah. So there's the idea of it needs to be hot and cold.
What do you like? I don't have a great selection of beers. You like Labatt's?
Whatever.
Okay. Are you like super easy?
I'm probably the most laid back guy you're gonna meet.
Okay. So note to those that own their own saunas and invite people over to sauna, when faced with somebody that says I don't care, when they say I'd like a beer, you reach for the worst beer in the fridge. No, Dan's shaking his head up and down. He's on board with that. Well, all right. Here's a good one, actually. This is Fulton. Fulton, you know Fulton, right?
I'm not. See, you're like the most blondie. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're the only Minnesotan I know.
I'm the only Minnesotan you know. Now, how does that? You're from Minnesota. You live in Minnesota.
Isn't that great?
Come on, give me.
I've
what about when you went to the grocery store today?
That was a
There's
Minnesotan.
not a lot of real Minnesotans.
How do you figure? I didn't grow up here. You grew up
I
here.
don't know. It's
Explain that, Dan.
a guy who's got his own cabin, who's got a resort. You know, this is the way Minnesota life is supposed to be lived.
Yeah.
Keep
talking. Now I'm.
That's
Keep talking.
and it's probably a little jealousy and but a good type of jealousy. It's this what you got this layout is definitely what I would like to see in my house one day.
Right on. Well, it makes me really pleased. I mean, to share what you love with others that dig it is a great feeling, and I appreciate that. And I think, that's kind of one of the the driving forces for Sauna Times. I mean, when I took that sauna 30 years ago and I told you that story in the hot room, it really changed me. It meant something to me on a lot of levels, even on a social level. It was just so friggin' fun to hang out with these guys from a different country, and we bonded, and we were able to escape. It was a beautiful thing, to be able to be there and be on this journey together through a sauna session. And I just feel very gratified that affected me as deeply as it did, and I've been able to take it with me and grow it for 30 years. And there are so many wonderful things happening with authentic sauna. Now we've reached a tipping point, and I think what you touched on earlier, Danny.
I got
Yeah, go.
See, I had a little sip of beer. Now the real me comes out.
Yeah.
Though I haven't said how I even came across you. I was ill prepared by not trying to go through my history and bookmarks and stuff, but I'm pretty sure it was like 2009, maybe 2008 that I found your website. Okay. I was probably this has got to be. It's my math. I'm not a mathematician. I'm genius in some things, and I can't do addition. I was probably like 22. Yeah, so somewhere in there that I was on your website, and I think I was even in Israel, and I'm like, saunas, and it's like saunas in Minnesota, and it's this dude building saunas in Minnesota. I'm like, I'm from Minnesota. What the hell is this? This is the coolest thing ever. Yeah. And now 8 years, we're sitting here.
and it's taken 8 years for us to get together and have a beer. But life is such a beautiful thing. I mean, one of my I could tell you stories all night, and God, everybody loves talking about themselves, and we're here to talk about you, Dan, and whatever. So forgive me, but I could list story after story after story how Sauna Times and sauna have brought me really close friendships, amazing connectivity, interconnectivity that, I mean, it's astounding. And maybe I got to sit down and write this shit down, but Tom Orlando comes to mind. He's on Sauna Talk. He's the first guy that I interviewed for Sauna Talk. He is my soul brother. I'm Italian, he's Italian. When we get together, it's like I'm with my brother. When you're with someone that you connect with so well that you don't need to talk, that's a sign of a friendship. The other sign of a friendship is like when you haven't seen them for a long time, and when you get back together, it's like you've never been apart. And another sign of friendship is you can tell them anything. And I can tell Tom anything, and he can tell me anything. And that kind of relationship is so, it's rare. Yeah. And I would say that it's getting more rare in this kind of like weird, social media world. And, deep, meaningful relationships are so precious. Yeah. Number two, John Peterson. I was with him all day yesterday. I sat in the front seat with his dad. We drove out to central Minnesota to look at a mobile sauna for the 612 Sauna Society. Yeah. And we have a mutual friend who's also on the steering committee of the 612 Sauna Society. And what John is doing and the connection I have with him, we got to chatting a little bit, and I was telling him a little bit about fatherhood. Okay, so our youngest is 17 years old. I'm 54 years old. JP is like 34. He's actually closer in age to my son than he is me, but I feel like he is like my kin. Yep. And so we had this beautiful conversation about relating, me relating to my son through John, who is like this literal like midpoint in age. Okay. And that's a precious thing. Yep. So anyway, enough of that, but those are two examples of how sauna, and here you were 8 years ago on saunatimes.com clicking around. So this is a meaningful thing. The fact that that this connection is made and my mind is going somewhere, and if you can guess where, and what I'd like to talk to next, I'm going to give you another beer after you finish this one. So, but I'll give you a big, massive clue. I want to learn a little bit about more of the brick and mortar of your facility.
where it's at, and how you would potentially like to expand that facility or your next facility, and what you would like to include in that facility, and how I can help you. So there you go. There's a big softball. Now, the big question is, what am I talking about? Any guess?
Wait. I'm confused.
Okay.
No, I got confused.
Your facility.
Yeah, I followed all that.
Of where you practice, and if you could expand it, like physically expand it, what would you want to put in your facility, and how can I help you?
Okay.
Softball.
Yes. The current place is not that place.
Okay.
The ceilings are 2 feet too short.
Okay.
But besides that, it's still not the right place. We need a standalone building. But it's kind of funny. I was talking to my wife. I was going to say, well, if it's anybody out there listening and you want to get involved, honest to God, it's like my passion to put a health center together.
Right.
The way, so the current facility we have, it's small. We're about 2,000 square feet, and we have a couple offices. We got a nice gym floor, and we have a private place where I put my, where the table is at, and it's got a cool vibe. I'll have to get you a picture. I tried to make it. You walk in, this is my mind. So there's like a wall of pictures and a huge skeleton and bones, and like, hey, something's going on here. This isn't a typical massage place or chiropractor. But the sauna aspect of it, there has to be a live water inside, somewhere where you could dip your feet or something. I have another buddy who, he said in Orlando they have a place, and my brother's been in Vegas a few times, and that's where you get these kind of creative steam baths where you can place to shave, or there's these thunder showers where you stand and the water's hitting you everywhere. So that's it needs to go that way. It needs to be there's I've been heard of places where they have minerals on the walls, and there's different. So that kind of a thing.
The salt thing.
You have to have cold tubs.
Yes.
I don't know if you know much about the sensory deprivation chamber, the float tank. There's one in Lake Nokomis I've been to a few times. Okay. They're cool. There's something very therapeutic.
That could be a tool in the tool belt.
Absolutely. If you're into meditation, there is no more intense meditation that can be done outside of that is the place, because you close the door, it's pitch black, you become weightless, and you just disappear. And if you got music, you could do that, but I mean, I did typical is 90 minutes of just blackness. Okay, we're back to the
in the spirit of free association. So we got a little endorphin rush going. Yeah. This is what's great about Sauna Talk. Like round one gets very practical. It's very practical. Yeah. Nuts and bolts. You come out, you cold shower, you have a beer.
Get a shiver.
Get a little shiver going. We're going to go into hot room here in a minute, but we start free. The endorphin rush builds, and this Tom Orlando, I just told you about him. He coined the term sauna talk because he thinks sauna talk is crazy talk, and it is crazy talk. But we need more sauna talk because without crazy talk, things don't happen. Yep. Like, do you think Uber was invented without the equivalent of sauna talk? Yep.
Even with the guy that I do business with now. We could go a few months, but you just have, and I'm in no means a drinker. I can't
finish that one pretty quick.
I got a good taste. It's a great beer. But sometimes you gotta, and sauna's one of those ways where you can kind of see what else is in your brain.
yeah, right. Well, that's a hell of a point. I mean, where some people can kind of like let their mind go and talk freely. Unfortunately, alcohol or drugs, is in our culture, that environment, but it need not be. I mean, sure, we're going to have a beer. You're going to leave tonight, and if you got pulled over by a cop, you're going to be fine because I know you're not like a heavy, strong drinker. And those that are like really into sauna and stuff enjoy a little alcohol beverage. Not everybody, but some do. But it's not this like you don't need that to create free thinking and open creative thinking. As a matter of fact, you get into stupid conversation in bars.
Probably personally right now, the reason I'm sauning sometimes earlier in the day, which I really probably wouldn't recommend because it does wear you out. But I wake up in the morning and I get glued to my computer situation. So I got 3 massive monitors on a big IKEA desk and a supercomputer, and I sit there and I consume, and I'm working and I'm learning and I'm doing that. And I try to get away, but sometimes, I don't do that until I have to be at an appointment at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, so I get stuck. But if I just say I'm gonna go to the sauna, and sometimes I take my phone with me and I bust out my note-taking app, and that's it. I just shut it all off. I get in the sauna, and some of my best writing, I don't do too much blogging right now, but a lot of that has come from just note-taking and writing from the sauna. Like that's
totally. So there's 2 prongs to this. The first is it's a wonderful place for collaboration, like Dan and I are doing right now. We're going to have a wonderful conversation about his facility. Is that what you'd call it?
Yeah.
Your place? And I know some great shit is going to come out of this. Is it sauna talk? Probably, but it's going to take us somewhere, and that's great. So you got that working, collaboration. The second thing about sauna that's so wonderful is you have that solitary time where there's no distractions, and the cell phone stays in the changing room, and you're sitting in the hot room, and it is a magical thing. That's why I always have a clipboard. I have this clipboard. It's right here. But when I solo sauna, not every time, but usually I'll be like, shit. And then that's why I used to have pens, but I only bring the pencil in the hot room if I really get going. But sometimes I'll just hang out in the hot room, hear some great tunes, decompress from a busy week, whatever. And I call it untangling the wires in your head. You can do that through collaboration with others, and often that's a beautiful thing. But sometimes you just need that time alone to untangle your own wires. Yeah. Right there?
Yeah, absolutely. The clinical term is rumination. That's like, you just keep thinking and thinking and thinking of the same thing. Like I'll be sitting and looking at a problem. It might be like the website, I've done all the development for it, and it's massive. It's if anybody wants to get in there, whatever, you can get a hold of me. But it's massive. There's like 400-600 pages or something like that, and it's a big complex system. And I'll sit there and I'll look at it, and I'll look at it, and I'll look at it, and something so obvious. And sometimes it's literally I go to the sauna because I get away, and it's actual getting away. And then you look at that's what a good teacher can do. If you want to call yourself a master, you look at the same problem, but you're able to see it from a different perspective. And sometimes it takes collaboration, or sometimes it takes, a real space. But the kick of the heat and the shift, mentally, I think that can do that for you big time.
All right, back at you here on Sauna Talk. Dan, how do you pronounce your last name?
In Minnesota, easy, Baruch.
Dan Baruch. And we got some music here in the background. We'll let this play out a little bit. We're hanging out between sauna rounds, South Minneapolis, Minnesota, and we were chit-chatting about Dan's practice and the integration of a authentic sauna as part of the therapy that is available through Dan's practice. And so we were chit-chatting about that in the hot room. We spared you from that conversation, that sauna talk. Any follow-up on that, Dan?
We definitely are brainstorming on the higher frequencies, but it really hits home the necessity of sauna as a part of your nutrition and your body work and your active physical practice, your exercise, and then just one other way of improving your health is the sauna, and should be part of a program. That's absolutely
right on. Yes. If you could have a kick-ass mobile sauna and bring it anywhere in the world and take a sauna, where would you choose?
I'm gonna have to go somewhere with mountains, somewhere snowy. Okay. So I guess we're gonna. Is there mountains at like the North Pole or something?
Ooh,
we'll go find Santa and take it. So something that direction. I've never been to Alaska. Yeah. Alaska's probably got something to offer. Something I see with mountains and cold.
Mountains and cold. So
you can go hop in the water.
So I can imagine you hitching up the mobile sauna to your vehicle and just start driving, get out to Seattle and work your way and start heading north, right? And you could probably pull over at any point, where there's a mountain stream, and just nestle that sauna right in amongst the banks of a really cool mountain stream. And would you be playing music or not?
I'd have to go no. If you're out in the nature, I guess you gotta go no.
So Dan, if you could arrange a sauna session with one other person, anyone in the world, dead or alive, who would you choose?
Okay, I knew this question was coming, and my initial and super cheesy answer is my wife, but it's the truth. Right? Because to go beyond that, now we got like a list of probably like 100 people that I could rattle off. That would be super duper cool. Maybe Jimi Hendrix is close to the top of the list.
Okay. How about your wife and Jimi Hendrix? Would you sit between the two of you, or would you put your wife next to Jimi Hendrix?
I think I gotta sit in between, but yeah. I don't
So Dan, you're obviously into sauna, we talked about the Jewish Community Center and all that. And what phase of the sauna process do you most enjoy, and why? And that when I ask that question, it's when you think about it broadens widely, like from when you wake up in the morning and know you're going to take a sauna to when you actually like start the process, do the sauna rounds. What phase of the sauna process do you most enjoy?
Okay, only so I've gone pretty extreme. I mean, I've done like the sauna to the hot tub, and I've been in the hot tub where I'm cold, and I know I'm supposed to be hot, but I'm just so depleted. There's a point where I maybe it's all in my head, but I feel like even like the teeth have become dehydrated, and like the top of your head, you touch it, and the scalp is just a little thinner. When you get to that point, then you're like in like real. That's like all the way, and that you can't really get there every time. That could be like a 5th round or a 6th round, and that just doesn't happen, nor is it healthy to do.
Good.
Yeah, it's just not even but that's why it's special. So
so you enjoy that?
Maybe once every couple months you gotta really push it to the limit. But besides that, I there was a previous guest that said that initial first time you walk in, that dry heat, that first time that that was a cool observation, and that really says something to like, okay, I'm here, I'm like, it's different, it's a shift, it's like the rock in the windshield. You're like, okay, but then that's it, you broke the rhythm. So
that is a wonderful phase of the sauna process that that's a little bit like the return of an old friend, where in our climate in Minnesota, a lot of times summer saunas are, if you take summer saunas, they're a little different because the vibe is different. But there's this certain thing that happens when it gets cold, when it starts like, it's really cold. And we know this as Minnesotans. Our feet are cold. You can feel that like cold air on your face and all that. And then you're right. When you step into that sauna for the first round, and that unique blast of hot, dry air hits you, it's like a warm blanket, isn't it, Dan?
That's exactly the word I've used, the warm blanket. And it can be the most soothing thing, because you can sit there, it's like you're crawled up in the fetal position almost. It just hits you.
Right on. So we talked about your current sauna situation is a health club, Lifetime Fitness. Tell the listeners here about your typical sauna routine. Time of day.
Unfortunately,
how long it takes.
Yeah.
This does not have to be, something to aspire to, because you're cool enough to say that this time in your life right now your saunas are at a health club, and that's okay. So you don't have to make any excuses about it. I just think it's really neat to know what your typical sauna routine is all about.
Right now, with just my schedule and the way home life goes, I have not been taking them in the night. So I'm kind of been a day about 10 o'clock, 10 between 10 and 11. I'm in there, and I'm typically, I just walk right into the building and I'm in there, and
No workout beforehand?
Never. That's we didn't hit that. I'm very anti going to the sauna before any extraneous exercise.
How about working out and then sauna?
I suppose that would be okay.
But you're not a workout guy.
No, very much so. I am a workout guy, but the sauna I think should be treated as its own situation. If you're gonna do it properly, you should go there for relaxation and to push it and to see, where are you at? If you only got 5 minutes and now you got 20 minutes, there's something going on here.
Okay, so you show up mid-morning.
Yeah.
Then what?
The first round right now, the only thing I don't know is temperature-wise. I'm guessing it's under 200. And it's got to, it's probably in that 180 to 200 range. And I'm in there, if it's social situation, I mean, I'll go up to 30 minutes on that first round.
Yeah.
That's
a long first round.
Yeah.
And you sneak a little water on the rocks, even though it's OSHA non-certified at Lifetime Fitness?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's if I'm feeling good, if I'm feeling it. If I'm not feeling it, I pretty rarely go less than 10 minutes. And I try to do all the fluids before I get there.
Yeah, explain to the listeners what you mean by that.
So my routine in the morning, I do some tonics. I do some water stuff that's on the site, some lemon.
You do gin and tonics or straight tonics?
So gin and tonics actually my favorite hard drink. There's a big, that's a good question, also for you. Like a lot of people say, don't do water in the sauna. And some people say, I see people drinking water in the sauna. Lately, I'd say the last year or so, I've been doing water outside of the sauna.
Okay. Before your first round?
Yeah, it's maybe an hour before. I haven't eaten, an hour or 2 hours. I'm definitely a fan of being closer to empty, stomach-wise, digested, and I'm in there. And then that first one, it's a pretty good sweat. I'm not showered typically before that, and I don't know, that's just what I've been doing. It's fun to see the beads kind of hit your hand, hit your legs, and go from wet, from dry to wet. And then
how much water will you consume before round one?
So in the morning, I do probably 2 to 3 glasses of coffee, which has like maybe 3 tablespoons of ground coffee, and then I take in about like 32 ounces of some clean water. Yeah. With lemon and aloe vera juice and apple cider vinegar, and
explain that combination for listeners. What's up with that?
Yeah, they're all good things. Aloe vera is very soothing on the stomach. Some people have like a mild laxative response to that. The lemon does a lot of things for cleansing.
And it tastes good.
Tastes really awesome. And then
so that's your elixir, so to speak. Yeah. 32 ounces of that.
Yeah, 32 ounces. Yeah, it's there's a recipe there on the site. We could even. Yeah, so there's maybe 5 or 6 different kind of tonics that I'll do, but that's the typical morning. And that's about it. I use one of the mason jars. It's just nice glass, simple. So I do one of those full, and then it's typically
after your coffee, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't really eat too much typically in the morning, unless there's been some heavy duty training regularly and there's muscle soreness in the morning. Maybe I'll get some food in, but almost always so
you'll go to the sauna with having eaten nothing,
yes.
And you'll be there mid-morning.
Yeah. Okay.
And you'll have 32 ounces of water, some coffee in your system. Yep. So you're well hydrated.
Absolutely.
Okay. So you walk in, and this is interesting. So for Dan, your gig is you're going for a sauna session. Absolutely. You're not going for the exercise bikes, the weights, whatever.
Yep.
You're on a mission. Yep. You go in round 1. Yep. It lasts as little as 10, but it's a long first round. Sometimes you can get, 20 minutes? Half, a little more?
Yep.
Okay, keep going.
Yep. And I kind of go by heart rate. So if I feel my heart rate's elevated, and
do you have a machine, or you just feel it?
I can feel it. If it's thumping through the chest, it's too much. I personally, I've done a lot of endurance training in the past and triathlon, marathon. So I've kind of done the whole heart rate monitor, and I know. But I mean, really, if you can feel it and it's pumping, it's dut 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 dut. It's probably time to get out.
Okay. So this is really interesting for you listeners. I mean, maybe I'm getting too into this. I don't know. But for most people, they say to themselves, "I'm hot. I need to leave the hot room."
Yeah.
Right. Where Dan's listening to another regulation, a deeper regulation. He's listening to his heart. Yeah. His heart is arguably a better barometer of time to leave the hot room than how you feel temperature-wise. Is that right?
Yeah. So, kind of funny how I started this podcast, very anti-sauna for training. I'm going in with the mindset that this is a stress response. This is for training, but it's not going to grow my legs or my biceps or my back. It's just, but I'm going in there hoping that I want to see where I was and where I am. Like that's so if I go with a friend and I sit in there and I know they're struggling at 5 minutes and their pores aren't they're not breaking a sweat and you can see shortness of breath and I can see their chest breathing and they're not belly breathing and their anxiety levels are rising. We gotta work towards a 10-minute or 15 or 20 or maybe they don't sweat right away and we want to sweat.
So another question along those lines, Dan. How is it that like two people can go in the sauna and person A could start sweating fairly quickly in the sauna round, where person B dry as a bone? Do you have any insight into that?
That's the one study that I want to see. So if anyone's listening, put that one in the comments because there's a lot of people that say that the number one thing that you're trying to achieve with regular sauna use is that within 5 minutes you do break a sweat. That's some sort of sign that your lymph system, that the dermis, the skin is clean and it's working.
Okay.
I know people.
I like that, and I accept that. Now, those of you that sauna a lot and aren't take a long time to get a sweat going, I got something for you. Do what Dan does. And this is one of my general principles is I highly suggest drinking 32 ounces of water before your first round. And I'm telling you, with that much water in your system, you're going to pee and you're going to start sweating. And I think that's good for you. Right? I mean, because what you're trying to do is jumpstart that. You're trying to get those pores opened up. You're trying to create that level of flow. And just because you've had 32 ounces of water doesn't mean your water intake's over. But I will say having a brewski is not the end of the world as long as you're well hydrated. Yeah. So that's round one, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. The brewski helps if especially in our situation like today we are at what time is it now? It's 8:30 and I've had maybe 3 ounces of steak all day and a little coffee. So I mean you have a beer, you get a little sugar to the system. Yeah. We're used to it. I mean this is like the best situation possible.
Yeah. And the unintended benefit is there's something about a beer. I mean hey, for those that don't drink, totally get it. It's totally cool. Maybe your psychological deal is a little kombucha or some, tea or whatever triggers relaxation in your own mind. And I'd say a large number of people, a beer is that. A lot of guys, like the beer. Maybe for the females, I don't know. I'm not a female, but I just really believe that there's something really awesome about that. Like with the guys that come over to my backyard sauna, we're not alcoholics, but beer has got it's got kind of an important role. Oh, what'd you bring over? Oh, it's a double IPA. It's like, whoa, that's like part of the culture. And what you're doing is you're creating this vibe of relaxation. It's like this, and in the craft brewery world, it's like, beers are made for you. It's not like Miller, where Miller makes beer, and you're going to like it. The whole thing about that when people bring over beers and stuff, it just creates this this is for you and this is your time and let's relax together. And just that sip, I think psychologically does something really nice for you. Yep. But anyway, what a digression. Sorry about that. Cool.
In our break there, we were kind of chatting and I was saying I don't really like to talk about myself too much, even though you kind of have to. But the one thing you were kind of opening up about yourself to flip it, we were talking about how it's a backyard retreat, and that really nails it on the head. And I want to give props before I forget that this being at your place here, and that goes along with you go to Mexico in an all-inclusive situation, you're probably going to have a Miami Vice or something, and when you want to make a proper backyard retreat, you might have a beer or a kombucha. I'm a huge fan of kombucha. I drink that like a couple times a week. Nice. But I mean, it's. I just wanted to say that Glenn's got the coolest backyard retreat around.
Right on. Thanks, Dan. I mean, what can I say? I love having you here, and this is a good vibe. This is a great vibe. It's great having you here. Great having you around for Sauna Talk. We're having a beer. We're listening to some music. This is Little Dragon. I mean, just chilling out. This is Sauna Talk. And we're done with round 2. We're going to finish up here. And I got one more question for you. Typical sauna routine level, finish up on that one. So you're done with round 1. Oh, yeah. Then what happens?
I go right. I'm lucky enough. There's a pool. The water's pretty cold, so I'm into the water immediately. So that's another factor. I'm in that sauna until I know that water is gonna feel right. If I haven't been, I know that the cold is coming, and I know how that my body's gonna respond to that.
Props to Clint Carlson. When do you leave the hot room? The time to leave the hot room is when the idea of a cold plunge is about the best idea you've ever heard.
That's cool. So there you go. So when do you leave? When you're an advanced sauna goer, when it's time to get in the cold tub. It's that simple.
And then so you'll cool down. Yeah. Will you get out of the pool?
Yeah.
Then what?
It's usually 5 to 10 minutes in the pool. There might be some like light leg stretching in there, just kind of like some old school martial arts, like horse stance, bull stance, whatever. Just standing with your feet out really far apart from each other. Just kind of work the hips. Everything. Hey, my joints feel a little different. They've been in the sauna. Kind of feel that out, and then usually I'm up, and it's probably bad, but it's the middle of the day, so my brain's still kind of really on fire. So I'm usually with the phone. Maybe it's a few notes. Then I kind of, okay, it's kind of cold. Maybe have a little water there. Typically, I will knock down another 6 to maybe even 32 ounces right there, and then I'm back in for the second round. And on that second round, my sweat is different than the first round.
Yes, explain that. Explain that to the listeners. You know what's going on. How is your sweat different in round 2? How does it feel different? What's going on?
It's got to be minerals. That's the other thing I didn't say. I will typically take in some Himalayan sea salt or some mineral sea salt in the morning as a normal thing. Yeah. If you take in a lot of water and you don't take in any sort of minerals, electrolytes, you're really not doing yourself any good.
Minerals, a key mineral is salt, yes?
Yeah. That's so. My guess, I've never seen the study again that tested the sweat that came off you round 1 and analyzed it, and then round 2 and 3 and 4, and those are the studies that should be done. Yeah. But if you're in tune with your body, it's different. It's coming out at a different rate. It seems clearer. Yes. It tastes different.
Yes. So to that point about the change of your sweat, if you were to stretch that out into maybe a 4-round session, on that 4th round, it's like coming out like water.
Yeah. That's definitely what's happening. That's kind of what I was joking around about the dehydrated teeth and the head and stuff. But once you have flushed your system like that and purged the system that much, that's what's going on. I have pictures of me cramping and video, and that's too far to go, but that's what happens. You're depleting your body of minerals and anything else that's nasty in there. That's in your fluids.
Yeah, but I can't see cramping up as a good phase. That's
too far.
That's too far.
But you gotta go too far to know we're too far.
That's true. Yeah, you push the limits. Back to Wim Hof with cold plunge therapy and stuff. The thing about sauna is it's so anachronistic in a way, in that it feels so great to get that hot and sweat that much, and it feels so great to a cold plunge, in a cold lake, or the outdoor shower where nail that thing so hard. And to the unexperienced, the inexperienced people, they think you're nuts. Yeah. But those extremes feel so wonderful to push those limits. Yeah. Right.
That's always from the outside. That's how I literally a 30-minute headstand in the middle of lifetime. People probably are like, what the hell is he doing? But it didn't happen overnight. Yeah. The other thing too, it's just a fun thing to say. I always say you're a little kid until you've gone too far, crashed, had an injury, and then built yourself back up and got stronger than you were before. You gotta, and that's what's kind of cool about the sauna. There's many life metaphors that you could hit it, but you gotta kind of get knocked. Even in our first round there, I got knocked out, and then I hit the cold shower, and 2 minutes later, I'm feeling like $1,000,000. There was something in me. That it was the caffeine from caribou that I don't normally. Something was there.
Yeah. So this is an important thing. Whether you're new to sauna, whether you've been sauning for a long time and stuff. This is not some macho play. You're not out there to impress anybody. You're out there for what feels good, and you push when you're ready to be pushed, and you maintain total consciousness to your body, and you listen to your body, right? And then there's nothing to worry about. You don't have to read signs on walls. You don't have to follow rules. You don't need timers to tell you when to leave and all that. Your timer is your own consciousness, and there's a beautiful thing in that. When you start to know your body well, then nobody can take that from you. It's a strength. Wim calls that inner fire, and I think it translates well to sauna therapy.
In Eastern philosophy, they say your fire rises, and that's just what it is. You're trying to keep that down in your belly button and stay in control. One thing I do want to say, and I haven't had the chance yet to kind of really engage with the community in the sauna society, but when you're hitting on this competition point, like, I'm so anti-competition in everything because I was a competitive guy, and the moment you're in competition mode, you're going to do the drugs to get ahead, or you're going to, risk hurting yourself or going that little bit faster. And when you're a stay-at-home mom or, a 45-year-old guy who just decided to start running, what's the point of having this mentality that you're going to kill yourself to run? And that should never be taken into the sauna. I'm sitting here saying I've done 30 minutes. So it's cool to have a guide or a teacher or a community like the Sauna Society could, be for you to actually say, okay, this is what you should be feeling, and you should leave, and it's all good, and come back next week and just...
right on. It's all good, but what isn't good is this schizophrenia where you're hot, you leave. You're cold, I want to go back in. I call it the rubber band theory. And what you really need to do is you need to expand. You need to expand in the hot room, and like you say, push the edge, but comfortably push that edge, and then push the edge. And when cold water hits you, you embrace that. You start to learn in an odd way to actually like crave it, because you calm your nerves, you focus your mind, and get right into the core of your thinking, and then you take that and you just friggin' love it.
Yes. In meditation worlds, like, I think one of the nicest analogies is when you're trying to create mindfulness or whatever. Sit at a wall and stare at the wall. Well, you want to be the guy up on the mountain looking down at you sitting on that chair. So when that water hits you, you shouldn't be there. You should be observing it. And just breathing through it, and whatever you got to do, and just try to settle yourself. Take a breath into your belly button, which is where your lower dantian is called. All these different, and it's where your descending colon is. Go ahead.
Really good. And relax and give into that, because that's part of the therapy. It's not like, again, back to this deal. It's not a macho deal. This is not like trying to impress anybody or whatever, but it's letting that hard nature work for you. And then when you come out, it's a beautiful experience. So we're back to your scenario of your sauna round, where you finished your plunge, you're in the pool and all, and then you get out, and then your body is seeking this wonderful spot of equilibrium. Where now the important thing is you're listening to your core, and then there's no rush. This is the other beautiful thing about sauna, is it's not a time race. If you say I'm going to go to Lifetime Fitness and I got 35 minutes, you might as well not even do it. Because where good things happen is when you allow time to equalize, that regulating your thermoregulatory system, all of that, right?
Yeah. There's it's the paradigm shift. It's the you go there. First of all, you need 2 hours. I would say that's a good minimum. And then the other thing is, once you accept that, that's the magic of doing anything where you're all in. Like, I play the guitar. When you play for 3 hours, you don't realize it could be watching a movie, anything where you're there. You lose, you're present, and the sauna does that for you.
And it's so easy to be present in sauna. I mean, maybe some people don't dig sauna. Like, I don't like hot tubs. That's a cousin. It's probably a evil cousin of sauna, in my opinion. I mean, I'm not into the chemicals. I don't like you're in a hot tub and you look and see sweat on some guy's brow, and you're like, well, what else? What percent of this hot tub is sweat? Anyway, that's just me. So anyway, everybody's got their gig, and I think sauna is such an easy place to create mindfulness. It's right there for you. The hot, the cold, the chilling out, the relaxation. It's not like trying to run a marathon.
It's purely just, it's a way to, the way I've been thinking about it, the days leading up to us talking, it's just people need to break the rhythm, and it's such a positive thing to do, and it is something that is not out on the media and not out in advertising and not out in marketing because it's not competitive. It's not all of these things.
Well, let me just backtrack on marketing. Now, infrared light bulb closets, but we're going to take the high road in that they are a gateway drug. If 100 people have infrared light bulb closets and 5 to 10 of them, seek out and find the authentic, I think that's a victory. But there is a hell of a lot of marketing going on with quote unquote sauna.
Yeah. This kind of goes back to this whole information is toxic sometimes. Like maybe it turns out that in 50 or 100 years, the infrared saunas didn't give everybody cancer or something crazy, and it did do, but it's too soon, number one. And why, say bad about something that's worked for hundreds or thousands of years and it's still working. Yes.
You're talking about the authentic
Yes,
sauna.
the authentic sauna experience versus an infrared. And I know people that are 100% for the infrared because of the scientific reasoning of it getting into the cells and stimulating it. But I would go back to the point of, well, okay, you're doing that for the person that's, 40% body fat, who doesn't exercise, who has a terrible diet. And why focus on this quick fix when, because it's marketed, it's easier to do. It takes someone really sitting and having a conversation.
You can buy one of those kits and assemble it in your living room and be in the quote unquote sauna world.
Yeah. So, maybe 100 years from now, we find out that the infrared is the best thing that ever happened.
No.
But I'm not.
We will not. I'm telling you, you don't need a light bulb.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Okay.
I am 100% for the record pro regular authentic, and this is my first time in a wood burning sauna. This is the coolest thing ever. My favorite podcast you did was with Daryl.
Yeah.
That was the coolest thing ever.
That was the coolest
and
thing ever.
I wouldn't recommend people to get infrared.
Okay, so those of you that have not heard Daryl Lampa, I'm really gratified that we were able to get him on microphone because I've known Daryl for 25 years, and I know the commitment that he has to making his product, and it's a beautiful thing when you see art and function meeting together and commitment, that the commitment he's had to developing a kick-ass authentic wood-burning sauna. It has propelled sauna appreciation for me personally. I own 2 Kuma stoves and many others, like those that buy my Build Your Own Sauna ebook. I tout the virtues of the Kuma stove. It's 400 pounds. Other wood burning sauna stoves, you can tuck them under your arm and carry them in. You don't have to be that like clever to understand that when you have that much mass of a 1/4-inch steel and hand welded in these rocks in there, it's a different heat. It's like, imagine a toaster oven, that kind of heat, versus the floor of your kitchen being a radiant heat with that much mass. And mass heats objects. Little electric coils heat air. Okay? So I love Daryl Lampa, and I'm thank you for acknowledging that podcast. And I just want to encourage you guys, you listen to Daryl, and he's an inspiration beyond sauna stoves. He's an inspiration of the DIY ethos about committing to a passion, working hard to improve. And to make something. And wait till you see the EPA ratings that have just come out on his UL certified stove. It's going to blow everybody away. And sorry, but there's my plug for Daryl. I had to get that in there. You got me going.
What? There's a reason I brought him up, because I thought that it was in the back of my mind as we're talking about infrareds. Yeah. And if you haven't noticed, I could sit here and try to name drop and cite studies and this and that, and I don't do that. But I brought him up because you can tell immediately that, okay, this is a master of his craft, and he's clearly put his life towards X, and it's showing, and that.
Yeah, I tell you, if I was some tech guy that sold his company and had whatever, I would go to Tower, Minnesota, and I'd plop down $1 million or whatever Daryl's looking for, and I would buy that company, and I would keep Daryl on board, and I get him. He's got shitty knees, poor guy. He's welding his product because he believes in it so much. Every stove that comes off that has got his name, Lampa Manufacturing, on there. He takes extreme pride in it, and what he's done is incredible in terms of efficient burning. And and that is a beautiful thing. And whoever's got $1 million or whatever bucks, contact me, and I'll take you to Tower, Minnesota, and we'll sit down at Daryl Lampa's dining room table, and his wife will make us some great lasagna. The guy is true as the day is long.
Cool. That's cool. No, it's all positivity. It's I learned a lot from that podcast.
Cool.
You know, I didn't the idea that a log could burn in different ways.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's just clearly that's what it's all about. That's kind of how I was saying, like, things are so complex, and someone like that can tell you something simple, and you're like, oh, okay, and then you just take it, and you just gotta try it, and.
Yeah. So okay, now we're on to round 2. You're at Lifetime Fitness. You've been in the pool. You go back in the hot room?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm back in, noticing my sweat's different. Sometimes I'll do some more stretching type things. I'll just sit in like a lotus, half lotus, and the joints in the knees and the ankles, those are great places to rub.
Yeah.
They call it like your 8 gates or whatever. Okay. So, I mean, and I'm doing a lot of work on other people, so I try to take care of myself, and I usually do it in the sauna. Yeah. So I'll rub through the ankles and the knee. So that's kind of that mindset. I'm in there to kind of see what's going on. If anything's more tender than usual, and just kind of lightly rub through it.
Okay. How long is round 2 for you usually?
It can go kind of the same. It's a 10 to 30 again, depending on time, depending on how I'm feeling. If someone's, there to chat with, there's some chatting. But I would say on average, it's another 15 minutes tops. 10 to 15 is probably my round 2.
Got it. Then what?
Then it's typically back to the cold again, and it's optional. I'd say 70% of the time I don't drink any more water. So I've been in the cold, and then I sit down a little bit again, and then maybe I'll rinse off, and then I will definitely do a round 3. Yeah. And
100% of the time, round 3 for you?
Yeah. That's pretty typical. Like, I know I hadn't been counting until I started listening to your podcast and heard questions and stuff, but I would say probably I'm in the 3 round is probably, I wouldn't go 4 or 5 too often. If I'm there, because it's just too long, I feel guilty to be there for 4 hours. There's been times where I've been with a guy, Dennis, and, we've literally, sat in the sauna like an hour, and we've done like, 3-4 hours of just going at it, and, you're like half, delusional? You're delusional. You're it's like visuals. You ate some mushrooms. I don't know.
You're the reason why the lifeguard pokes his head in the sauna every 20 minutes and then marks it on his clipboard.
Yeah. I don't like to talk about myself. I've done a lot of physical, not just in training too, but the reason I bring it up is because I don't think that's proper anymore. I don't go that way. I don't ask people to do that, but I thought that was beneficial. Yeah. What was beneficial is I learned what it's all about. The same reason I ran a marathon. Let's see what it's about. Everybody's talking about it. That's not good for you. So I don't do it. Right. And I don't sit in the sauna crazy amounts of time. Yeah. And I also think that the sauna, like where I'm sitting, feels different than the sauna we were just in. And so I would say here, 10 to 15 minutes is probably enough a shot. So I would go 10 to 15 and maybe a 10. Yeah. Yep. And depending on conversation. Yeah.
Well said. Well, how does this hot room differ? How does it feel different for you?
So I've been in a lot of boxes this size. This one is super clean. Number one, the wood itself, it does feel that way. It feels pretty even. I was just up north at a resort thing, and they had a nice sauna, but it was an electric style, and it was with rocks on top, and I think people were abusing the water and the steam, and the whole wood felt just wet, and it didn't feel the same. Yeah. It feels very even, and the lighting is awesome. Yeah. It's just super clean. You can tell it's been taken care of.
Yeah. You can tell this sauna is built by a guy who digs sauna, huh? Yes. All right, enough of the self-planning and stuff. Last question for you. So round 3's done. Yeah. You'll chill out, get dressed, go home. Is that about it?
Yeah, I'm pretty close to Cub Foods or a different grocery store. Yeah. It will very often be kombucha. Yes. Otherwise, additional foods, I got a bunch of philosophy on food. Yeah. You can get a lot to it on the website. But if I do eat something, a lot of times it might be like a couple nuts and some dried fruit. Just something kind of dry and rather easy to digest. Okay.
Okay.
After I'm done, or I'll do fluids. I'll do some kombucha, and it depends. If I got to go right into like a big series of heavy manual therapy type stuff, I'll probably have to get something solid to have some power. If I'm feeling crampy, I might go a different route with what I'm going to take in to try to get some more salt in me. If I feel fresh and I haven't pushed it, then I kind of just go about my day normally, and I'm not too on top of like, okay, I got to stop here and get this, and I just kind of go about my day.
Yeah, what food would be recommended for you? Everybody's different. Yeah. But when you're going to hit food after sauna, what is a good food for you?
Probably something salty. So, but that could be any. You could put salt on anything. I mean, I eat pretty just. I'm not like the idea of having snacks and meal. I don't think that way. I think that there's nutrition, and you should, when it's time to eat, you should eat what's good for you and what's available to you, and eat enough that you're not, whatever your hunger level is. And then that's kind of the way I go. So, I mean, it could be meats and it could be vegetables, greens, eggs, just typical things.
Typical things. I like that. Well done. Last question for you, Dan. I mean, I think I've said last question a few, but we dove into your sauna routine and took some turns there that I thought were really great. Really appreciate your insight on that. You're obviously very in tune to your body. You're very well read. So I think there's some tips in here for other sauna listeners that may help with their sauna routines. So thank you for that. So here we go. Hopefully we'll see. Last question. So what one thing about sauna do you think is misunderstood that you'd like others to know?
Sneak attack. Misunderstood that others should know. That you have to be naked, that you have to be beaten with a twig. I don't know what else. Those are maybe popular, or that that's tough. Because I've just been in it so long, so I'm trying to think more. When I tell people to use it, they don't have the belief that it's something important, or that it's going to do something for them, that it truly will like get rid of aches and pains or help with water retention. So it's kind of just, people don't really respect how much it can do for them. That's what I come across the most in my day-to-day.
Well done. Dan, thanks for joining us. We're going to hit round 3. Appreciate you coming by. Yeah, we'll have a beer, we'll relax, and this is Sauna Talk. Thanks for listening.